Good evening, guys. Good evening. Welcome back to Do I Look Sick? I am Mia with Sickle Cell Awareness 365, and today I have a guest with me, Kadeem Harrison, Camp New Hope representative, Sickle Cell Foundation of Georgia representative. Thank you so much for coming to talk with me and talking about Camp New Hope and everything Sickle Cell Foundation.
No problem. Thanks for inviting me.
No problem. So, of course, you and I met through Camp New Hope. And first, let's tell people exactly what Camp New Hope is.
Well, Camp New Hope now is a week-long camp, residential camp, so the kids come for a whole week, just to have a camp experience, just to come have fun. It is a medically supervised camp, right? So that means we have medical staff there 24/7. So doctors, nurses, just in case anybody gets sick, because we are dealing with sickle cell. And we do activities like regular camps. It is educational, so of course we have to talk about dealing with sickle cell and all that good stuff. Transition is a huge part of camp, and our counselors, most importantly, majority of our counselors, and as you know, you've been our counselors for years, but our counselors also have sickle cell. So the campers have somebody to look up to as role models, like, hey, I want to be like Mia one day. Mia, she has the same type of sickle cell I have, so I'm trying to be like that. So that adds to the whole experience.
It absolutely does. And I can say how impactful that mentorship or big brother, big sister is and has been for me as well. In the intro video, it does show me and Jennifer when we met at camp when we were 10 and 11. And I kept going every year after that. As you can see, I must really love camp because I'm still going. So it was really impactful for me, and I really looked up to the people before me that were leading it then. So they helped me they pushed me to do it even more. So that's really crucial. So how did you find out about camp? How did you get connected?
Right. So when I moved to Georgia, my mom, she was Googling everything sickle cell, right? She found out about the Sickle Cell Foundation of Georgia. Then I was volunteering at the foundation for a while. Then they talked about the camp, like, hey, you should be a camp counselor. I wasn't old enough to be a counselor, but I was old enough to be a junior counselor. Okay. So that's how I got involved. And after my first year, I was like, nah, this is it. I love it. And I've been going. I've never missed a year since then.
Yeah. Never. They hook you. They
sure do.
Reel you in. I love it when people come for the first time. It's like, yeah, I'm coming back. We got another one. But yeah. So as a kid growing up with sickle cell, did you ever have a camp then, or how was that as a kid? Did you know camp existed for kids with sickle cell?
So for me, it's a lot different. So I was born and raised in Jamaica.
Okay.
Right. I moved here when I was 16, 17.
Okay.
So of course, nothing related to camp. The only time I knew people with sickle cell was when I went to, I had to drive 2.5 hours to go see my specialist. And I might see kids, and next time I go back, and they're like, it's a picture on the wall, they died or something like that. So it was never like, oh, there's fun things to look out for, so I never really had that growing up.
And I can't imagine what it's like being in an area that doesn't have those resources. For me, and as you see, the Sickle Cell Foundation has been around for 50 years now. Yeah. So they've always been a part of my life, being in Atlanta and just being in it. And my mom made sure to be active in whatever the foundation was doing. So that's where my love for the foundation came from. Yeah. So that's interesting. How did you manage your health being in Jamaica?
And you know what, fun fact though, so the foundation been around 50 years this year, right?
Yeah.
Camp been around for 40 something years.
Yes. I saw the 1977. I was like, geez.
And we're still going. It's switched up over the years.
It has.
But, it was a family retreat first, and then it became a camp. Now we're virtual. Yeah. Hopefully go back in person next year. But, yeah, fun stuff.
Nice. Yeah, I did see that they had been around for 40-something years. So they an OG with sickle cell camp.
Exactly.
So how did you manage your health? How did your parents manage your health growing up in Jamaica?
So I always thought my mom was a doctor, to be honest with you.
Okay. Okay.
My mom did every type of research possible. Every time we went to the doctor, she made sure, she would bring home stuff to read up on, to do research. So she was always telling me, okay, try this, do that. Nice. Don't go outside, it's raining, it's cold, or whatever. So I would say when I was much younger, it was managed pretty good because of my mom. Okay. Until, I became a teenager, how teenagers are. And I'm just like, oh, I want to go out there. I want to do this. I want to do that. Of course, I started getting sick. So I think it was managed pretty well. Okay. Of course, I missed out on school. A lot of it was because of my own doings. Right. But, I think it was managed pretty well, though.
Can you attribute that to, like, the natural remedies that your mom gave you, or?
Oh, yeah.
Good.
Oh yeah.
So give us some tips. Like, what does she make for you? Does she make something based on if it's inflammation, or how does she do that?
So a lot of home cooked meals. Okay. Right. Beets. Beets. Okay. Is powerful. Yeah. Beets making juice. She would cook it sometimes. Trust me, that really helps with your blood count. Okay. Right. It works for me. Okay. All right. Okay. And just a lot of home cooked meals, nothing that's like processed, and we grew a lot of our stuff, so we know it was fresh and organic, pretty much. Nice. And like when it came to candy and that kind of stuff, my mom was not having it.
All that sugar.
No, not all that sugar. Yeah. She was not having it. Of course, I would try to sneak and get some, but for the most part, she kind of managed my diet, and it was a lot of greens. Green leafy vegetables, stuff like that. She kind of stayed away from the fried stuff. And at some point I was like, man, everybody got to eat what I'm eating because I'm sick. Mm-hmm. But it made everybody healthy. Right? So it was a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Do you still maintain that, or do you find yourself kind of eating some fried wings every now and then? Or?
I ain't even gonna lie to you, that
you're in Atlanta, you can't not have
exactly. And I think one of the problems is sometimes just being lazy. Yeah. And having to work. I might be going to work. I'm like, man, I can't stop to cook something right now. Yeah. Or, man, I want to go home. I want to just eat and just watch TV when I get home or something. Yeah. So I'll fast food, and it's right there. Yeah. Every exit is some kind of fast food. So it's just readily available. Yeah. And that's an issue, but I'm working on it though. Yeah. My diet is definitely something I'm working on.
I think it's a constant struggle. Oh yeah. You have to be consistent, which is true. It helps with your overall health, and that's something that we do try to promote with Do I Look Sick, on just having a balanced diet. It's kind of hard to be like, don't eat, especially if you've been eating crazy for your whole life. Some people can go cold turkey without sugar and without fried foods and all that, but some people can't. But it's nice to hear again how helpful having a balanced diet helps our health, especially with sickle cell disease. So that's awesome. So you said your mom started researching about when you guys moved here and you became a junior counselor. Really? Okay. How was that experience? Your first time doing that?
So my very first time, I was supposed to be a junior counselor, but just to let everybody know, there's always a shortage of male counselors. So I ended up being a male counselor that year. Right?
Say that again. It's a shortage of what?
There's always a shortage of male counselors every single year, and it's not only our camp. But I've been to so many different camps, and they have the same issue. Young men, y'all need to come through. We need y'all. So it was a great experience, though. So, of course, at first, it was kind of like, man, this is a lot of work. I had the youngest kids, right? So 6, 7, 8. And I was like, oh, man, like, I had my co-counselor, like, man, we gotta. And then we took advice from a lot of other counselors that's been there for years, and they dropped some gem on us, and like those really helped. But just to see the smile on their faces them kids, man, them little boys, once they start smiling, they're having fun, it just warms your heart. And everything that you had to do, it's not, like, you don't even worry about that no more.
Yeah.
So it paid off. It really paid off.
Yeah.
It felt great.
It does. My hematologist, the last time we had the physical camp, he was like, I'm going to stop signing y'all release papers to let y'all go to camp. Because half of y'all come back and have to be admitted to the hospital. But it's crazy because we go back every year. So
every single year.
We find a way to go. So it just hooks you in. You develop that bond with the kids. When I became a counselor, I had the same kids until they aged out. Every year it might be a few people that come or go.
Some newcomers, yeah.
But for the most part, I had the same kids until they aged out. And I still keep in touch with some of them now. And it's nice to see how they've grown into women and even the young men, because of course we shared activities with so it's nice to see, how they've grown into adulthood and how they're managing. One of my kids is now a genetic counselor. One of my, Rebecca.
Oh, that's what's up.
Yes. Courtney Peters, she's doing great things.
Oh, yeah.
Justina Williams out of North Carolina. Sometimes she'll come in on the transition workshop. So it's really nice to be able to work with them in that capacity. I call them my little sisters. They're not my campers anymore. They're my little sisters.
True.
So it's really nice to see that. I really think camp is what started my whole passion for sickle cell, period. So I just love camp.
Oh yeah, it's life changing.
It is. It really is. So we do have different perspectives of camp, and of course I'm coming from the camper turned counselor turned creative art, so I've seen what it was like in the 90s and what it's like now. And I'm gonna talk about the past, and you bring it to present. Then you talk about present and take it to the future.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So in the 90s, how we did camp is pretty much the same. We all have our counselors. We share cabins with other groups. Then we might have had like 200 people. Like when I look back at those camp pictures, the group, it was huge. And some of the counselors did have sickle cell. We would have a block party. Somebody would DJ, of course. That kind of got out of hand every now and then, but the talent show. I know you hear me a lot talk about the talent show, but when these kids came to camp, they came prepared for the talent show. They had their instrument. They knew what song they were going to sing to or dance to. The parents could come out and watch their kids perform. We would have maybe like a performing arts company come and show us a dance. So if there were campers who wanted to participate but didn't know what they wanted to do, they could join in on that. We'd have the same motivational speaker every year, Keith Preacher Brown. So I loved it. Of course, we had activities like horseback riding, swimming, archery, a lot of the things that we have now. You hear me talk about this a lot, about the accessibility of water. There was coolers in every cabin. I remember bringing my own cooler like most people and just making sure it was filled up. The kids knew once the juice ran out, there's nothing else. You're going to have to drink this water. They knew that was the rule. So if y'all drink all this juice in the first day, that's fine. But the rest of the week is just water. Unless you're ready for snack time or meal time or whatever. So I have definitely seen the changes, and I often wonder like how we can incorporate it, take a little bit from the past and take a little bit from now and make it collage, So that was a little bit of back history on Camp New Hope. And I'm in love with the creative arts now, because in that activity, as when we were kids, it really taught me to just kind of zone out for a minute,
True.
And work on this bracelet or birdhouse or whatever it was. So it just helped that creativity even more. So like I said, camp has been really impactful. So how do you how do you see it going forward?
All right, so I'm gonna pick up from where you left off till what has happened over the years. Well, since I've been there.
Okay.
So a lot has changed.
Mm-hmm.
Partnerships changed. So we're no longer at our old campsite because it was a lot of different things that happened over the years, and it just got to the point they're like, okay, we not about to do this no more.
Yeah. Okay.
And we try to with camp. It's a sickle cell camp, right? We want it to be a sickle cell camp. Not just drop your kids off and they do whatever.
Right.
So that's one of the things we wanted to maintain as the Sickle Cell Foundation of Georgia. And the campsite really wasn't having that. They just wanted us to drop the kids off, come pick them back up. We wanted to, our counselors, some of them have to have sickle cell. Mm-hmm. They have to learn something about sickle cell. Mm-hmm. And not just from anybody, but people that know sickle cell, people that live with sickle cell. Mm-hmm. So they weren't willing to do that. So we're like, okay, well, we could do this. So, we got to do this on our own. So that one thing that changed. And I think over the years, parents and kids in general have changed. Like with the talent show, I've tried reaching out to parents like, hey, you can send their instruments. Like, it is fine. Yeah. We'll lock everything up until it's time for the talent show. Yeah. I mean, we're going to keep working on that because, I can imagine what those talent shows were like. And it would definitely be awesome to see again. So we're going to keep working on that.
I'm going to help you with that one. I'm going to help you with that one.
In the past, like when I've reached out to parents, a lot of parents, they just don't want to do it. Or the kids are like, man, I'm going to camp. I don't want to, I don't want to have to do this. Like, I just want to go and have fun. A lot of kids just come, they just want to see their friends. They just want to chill.
Socialize.
That's it. They don't care about some of the activities. They just want to see their friends. If it's even, and it's something I've learned over the years, if you just put them in a room by themselves, of course with adult supervision, and just let them be in there. Give them an aux cord so they can play music, and that's it. They'll have so much fun. They'll start talking. You'll be amazed by what happens. So everything doesn't have to be structured. Okay, you got to do this, and this. So going into the future, there's something we're looking into. More scheduled cabin times. Okay. So more times where you just chill. Yeah. If you don't want to go outside and play basketball or play any type of sports, that is fine. Sit inside. You'll have cards. We bought like a lot of board games and stuff. So if you want to just go grab a board game and come sit inside your cabin and play with some friends, that's what you do. Yeah. If you don't want to do nothing at all but sit here and talk, that is fine too. Because kids, they like that kind of stuff. Yeah. Instead of, okay, you got to do this. It's 3 o'clock. You got to move. We got a next activity. Nah. Yeah. So going into the future, that's, one of the things that we're going to incorporate into camp. And more water stations. Great. I got you. Water stations outside every single cabin. Every single cabin. Yes. Every activity. So 2 cabins won't be sharing a water station. Every single cabin is going to have water station. I got you. Good. I told you. I got you.
Awesome. So, one of the other things that sticks out from then is the first night we got there, it would be like a carnival. And it would be in the gym at Camp Twin Lakes. And we would have Harry the Hawk come. We'd have these big inflatable things. One might be a basketball thing where you strapped up to a bungee cord. You got to race with someone else to get it in the hoop or something. It was face painting. It was like a carnival. So that was like our welcome party. So I thought that was really cool. But I also like how they do now different activities to welcome us on the first night. So that's pretty cool too. So I compare a lot to see how things have changed, what we can take, what we can leave, and all that. So you said you're incorporating more cabin time. I also think it's a different generation now.
Man, it sure is.
So these kids don't really like to be outside.
They don't. They do not, and they don't like walking either.
These kids are lazier.
They sure are.
But so how do you? I get incorporating more cabin time and just kind of tailoring the camp a little bit differently to cater to now's generation. with the extra cabin time, did you incorporate that in the virtual camp this year?
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Good.
So more time for them to just be in a room with their friends.
Yeah.
Hey, something that surprised me last year. There was two campers that just wanted to be online. So they were playing Roblox, right? She was like, "Hey, this is my name, log in or whatever," and they just wanted to sit there. They're both playing on, at home, but they just know that my friend is right there looking at me playing. That was so amazing to them.
Okay.
And we stayed on for hours just watching them play.
Wow.
It was just two of them left on there.
Oh, wow.
Just both on Zoom, just playing Roblox. And sometimes you'll hear them say stuff like, "Hey, hey."
That's funny.
But after that happened last year, I was like, "Yep, they definitely need." Because when you think about it, a lot of kids, they might be the only child at home.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't have that interaction. They're not going to school.
Mm-hmm.
When they have online school, they don't really get to interact a lot. So them not having that place, I can just imagine how crazy that is.
Exactly. Especially being in the situation that we've been in and just kind of locked in the house. I know just having that friend there is relieving. I am sick of the virtual stuff and the Zoom stuff.
I am too.
I miss human interaction, but it has been very beneficial. I even with last year's virtual camp, I like how you guys still had it kind of structured, still brought that camp feeling even though we were virtual. So I really think, well, they always enjoy creative arts.
Oh yeah. That is something that is on the list for every single every single. So we, of course, we always ask them, "Oh, what do you want for next year? What activity would you love to see?" Creative arts is always on the list.
Good.
Always on the list.
Good.
And not just creative arts, but Mia.
Oh, thank you.
I'm just saying.
Why, thank you.
Every single year. Every single year.
Good. Cause even the when you guys bring in a producer or just bring in a song producer or whatever, to me that's creative arts because we're writing raps and singing and doing stuff like that. So even that sometimes I feel it like is a part of creative art. So.
Oh yeah, that is. I've heard some bars. I was like, "Oh, hold up! I didn't know you had it in you." Some of these kids, like, you'll see them, but when they get on the beat, you're like, "Wow, I did not know you had bars." And they write their own stuff.
Yeah.
It's not somebody writing it for them. I'm just like, "Okay, this is nice. Okay,
right.
we got to keep this going. We got to keep this going."
Right. So it's not, maybe painting and drawing isn't their thing, but writing and rapping and even poetry is. So it's still creativity.
Yes.
So when is camp this year?
Camp is July 19th or 23rd. So next week.
Next week. That came around fast.
Next week. A lot of I got some messages today from parents like, "Hey, my child got their box." I was like, "Oh, that was quick. Okay, cool."
Nice.
So they already received their camp boxes. And a lot of them are ready and excited for next week. So
good.
I'm ready too.
So I know it's too late to sign up for next week, but when do you usually do registration for camp?
So registration is always open in January.
Okay.
And I'm always on our website, so sicklecellcamp.com. And then we always, so after camp in July, August, September, we start posting the dates for next year.
Okay.
Of course, you're not going to be able to register. Counselors can, because we always need counselors, so you can register anytime.
Okay.
But kids start registering in January.
Nice. And how long does it stay open?
It stays open until a month before camp, when we're having camp in person, so sometime in June. Okay. And that just gives the medical staff time to put all the paperwork together as far as medications and, doctor's orders and all that kind of stuff. That way we're not last minute trying to find something and then mess something up.
Gotcha.
And our medical staff, they're serious about making sure everything is right as far as medications and all that stuff. So
yeah. One thing that was helpful, and I understand now there's HIPAA, so I understand why we can't do that. Where as a counselor before, we would have we'd know who our campers are, what their allergies are, medications are. We would have this maybe a month beforehand, and we were able to contact the parents and introduce ourselves to get them more comfortable with coming to camp and know who they sending a kid off with or whatever. So that's one thing, and I guess that was how I was able to keep in contact with my little sisters as well.
Mm-hmm.
But since then things have gotten crazy, and I understand, the protection and the HIPAA and everything. But that was super helpful and super beneficial. Even when things started to switch over, once camp ended, I would drive back to the foundation to meet the parents myself, to just lay my eyes on them and let them see me or whatever. So that was doing the most, but that's just me.
So that's definitely something we could look into going forward. So as you know, so we do have a cheat sheet at camp, right? So it has like camper basic information. If this child has ADHD or something, just something that you need to be aware of, right? So if the child start acting up, they're not just acting up, but they might need their medication or something like that, right?
Right.
If they went to bed, because that's super important for counselors to know.
Yeah.
You don't want to wake up and you like, hold up, what's going on?
Yeah.
But you are aware of this ahead of time. Something we have talked about a little bit. We haven't had camp in person since then.
Yeah.
But having something where the counselors get to meet the parents. Yeah. So a lot of times it's hard to get all the counselors together before camp because they're giving up a whole week to be at camp, right? So a lot of them, they work up to the day before they leave for camp. But maybe something virtual, just so parents can see a face.
Yeah.
Okay, he's gonna have my child. All right, cool. Yeah. And we do have a great camp staff that make calls to the parents. Have a great relationship with our camp parents. They can call us, they text us sometime at camp. But getting the counselors involved, I definitely get it. And it's something that we can revisit.
Yeah. Or even if just one of the camp training days and having the parents come up there then or whatever.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I got you.
I think that would definitely help. So, okay, so the Sickle Cell Foundation of Georgia as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
We've been talking so much about camp, but what is your specific position with the foundation and camp and everything? Like, what do you do? I know you probably do a little bit of everything, but what is your main thing that you do?
All right, so I'm a counselor.
Okay.
So we do health education for a newborn screening program. Okay. So as you know, in the state of Georgia, when a child is born, they get tested for sickle cell along with other things. So one of my jobs is to talk to those parents, answer any questions that they might have. Okay, I just found out my child has sickle cell trait. They want to know what this is. Is something going to affect my child? So I kind of, help them calm down. Sometimes they think it's detrimental. Of course, it's not under, the right circumstances.
Right.
So that's one of the things I do. Outreach coordinator. Okay. So health fairs. If we need to, we get invitations to health fairs, or somebody just need the mobile unit to come out and do testing. Comes through me. I set up the mobile unit to go out. I'll show up sometimes myself, set up tables, information, and just talk to people. And camp coordinator, of course.
Are y'all still doing the mobile testing with the pandemic and everything?
So right now, no, because our lab is not opened yet. So we're not allowing people to come in to get tested either. But we're contracted through LabCorp, so we, made those connections. If people are still interested in getting tested, we can still make those arrangements.
Okay, so it'd have to be kind of scheduled or something like that.
Just give us a call. We'll set it up and make sure it's the closest location to you. Okay. So you don't have to travel all the way to, Benjamin Mays.
Yeah, that's convenient. I do hear a lot of people complain how far the foundation is, especially from the east side of town.
Exactly.
So yeah, I'm glad to know that you guys are still doing trait testing.
Oh yeah, that is super important.
It is. It really is. I know that, and I'm not sure how familiar you are with it, but I know that they do physician-led trainings.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Tell us a little about that.
So, as everybody knows, a lot of our providers, they're not well educated on when it comes to sickle cell. Mm-hmm. So, what this training does is, helps those providers to see how to take care of a sickle cell patient. So, we have Dr. Powell that is been with the Sickle Cell Foundation forever.
Yes.
forever, Dr. Ekman as well.
Yes.
He's, been with us for a long time as well. So they go out, these are providers, of course. They go out and train other providers of how to deal with people with sickle cell.
Nice.
All right. And something I've heard, so a lot of providers, at one point, they didn't look for sickle cell patients to live past 18, right?
Right.
So if you're just looking for somebody to live at 18, you're not looking for adult care per se, right? So you're not looking how should I treat them when they turn 25? So if this start happening at 25, what should I do? So a lot of doctors are still not educated on that. So this is what that program also does.
Nice.
Just making sure they're educated when it comes to dealing with sickle cell patients.
Nice. And I want to point out that Dr. Ekman is a retired hematologist, but he's still very active.
Yes.
He does a lot of stuff with the transition clinic as well as the transition workshops, as well as many other things. He's also responsible for the Grady Sickle Cell Center overall.
Yeah.
It's been there 38 years, almost 40 years. We're the same age. And I've been going to Grady pretty much most of my life. I won't say all my life, but most of my life. Having my sickle cell care, just growing up in Grady. My transition for me was a bit easier because the children's sickle cell clinic and the adult was in the same clinic at that time. So I was already familiar with the staff there. They knew me. It was comfortable. They knew my mom. So that time period was a bit easier for me because that was available. But Dr. Ekman is really knowledgeable about what he does, and I'm glad that he's a part of that team. And Dr. Powell, I love that he's a primary care physician, and he treats people with sickle cell disease. I went to school for medical assistant once I graduated from high school. That was 20 years ago, by the way. Shout out to the class of 2001 from North Atlanta High School. Whoop, whoop. But so when I had to do my internship for medical assistant, it was at Dr. Powell's office when they were in the back of the foundation. So, and even his receptionist is the same now. It's like, I remember you. So I love that Dr. Powell does that. I love the relationship I have with him, the patient-doctor relationship I have with him.
Yes.
I have access to him. I can call him up, hey, doc, this is what I need. Can you help me out? What do I do? Even when I was admitted into the hospital a couple of months ago, he wrote me a letter saying, hey, this is usually what she takes for pain. This is what works. When I found that the doctors at the hospital weren't really listening to what I was saying, I could call Dr. Powell and say, hey, can you talk to this doctor because blah, blah, blah. So I think that was super instrumental in my care the last time I was in the hospital. And I love that I have that relationship with him. So
he's amazing.
Yes, shout out to Dr. Ekman and Dr. Powell because they are the truth. Please call in and tell us about your either Camp New Hope experience or Sickle Cell Foundation experience, throwback, what you like now, what would you like to see. Call us at 470-251-4647, 470-251-4647. So what type of activities does the Sickle Cell Foundation of Georgia have for like fundraising, and even with their 50th anniversary this year, what type of things can we see, events that you guys are having?
So with COVID still, acting's crazy. So as you know, we usually have a race run around April every single year, right? But they pushed it back to September. So in September, we're going to have a number of different activities. Everybody know September is Sickle Cell Awareness Month. We're still going to have the vigil, of course, to, talk about those who've lost to sickle cell. To me, that's still an important thing. And we'll have a family game night.
Nice.
So families, of course, will still be doing some social distancing.
Come see me on the Connect Four table.
There we go. There we go. And then we have a number of other activities. I think we're going to have a volunteer. So all volunteers, if you've ever volunteered with the Sickle Cell Foundation of Georgia, go to our website, sign up, or just so we can have your updated information, and then you're invited.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
That's always awesome.
Oh yeah.
Y'all can't do nothing without the volunteers.
And you're right. Exactly.
I labeled myself as the union rep for the counselors last time camp
Oh yeah, you did.
because I had the we be so broke down. I had the pain relief cream, and I was, hey, passing out cream if somebody needed it. You need to borrow it. Here you go. Um, I had the coins ready. Y'all need help doing laundry. With creative arts, I have that little bit of free time.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like, okay, let's see who I can help during this time. So, yeah. One of our people that we've connected with before, TKO. Oh my gosh, I just messed up the name. But her name is Kathy Walker with TKHTO, the IV hydration.
The name sounds familiar. Yeah.
Okay, so she has a daughter with sickle cell. She's a counselor therapist. Look, I'm messing it all up. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
y'all.
I know you're talking about.
Okay, so
she
yeah,
came to our adult retreat last year, 2019, and she spoke.
nice.
Name is slipping me right now, but yeah.
Yeah, so we spoke recently, and I was just telling her, we how broke down we are at camp, and she gave a good suggestion of having her come out before camp for the counselors.
Hmm.
Just having her come out beforehand and just giving us some extra fluids, get us ready for camp. She puts the vitamins and minerals into the fluid to help us as well. So
The boosters.
yes, that's awesome. Let's see if we talked about anything.
I'll definitely for 2022,
Okay,
if we have camp in person, I hope we do.
I hope so.
But that's definitely I think that'll be helpful.
Yeah,
I think that'll be definitely helpful to our counselors.
absolutely. And I'm noticing myself as of course, we age faster. So I definitely feel a difference, being 38. I talk about it like I'm 70, but I definitely feel a difference. I can't move like I used to. I can't. So I told someone I'm going to have to build myself up now to do camp next year to make sure I'm ready. Because it's a lot. I think if we could definitely recruit more um, counselors with the trait or that don't have it, to balance out and take a little bit of the weight off of the counselors. And the OG counselors that's been coming to camp, the ones with sickle cell, we getting up there. So to be able to balance that out would be good. But I'm gonna always help y'all recruit more counselors because it's
We always need it.
always needed. So, are you guys doing anything special for the 50th anniversary? Anything? A dinner?
Yes, yes, there will be. I'm not sure of the date,
Okay.
and that's my bad. I just been busy.
You good?
But yeah, we do have a lot of things coming up in September.
Okay.
Even outside of the ones that I did mention.
Right.
And there's gonna be something in December as well. And we're usually a part of the Choa Parade in
Okay.
December, so I know that's something that's on the list again.
Nice.
I know we're having something. I just
So how
it's
can
bad, but
you okay? So we can go to what's the website that we can go to see the events that's going on?
SickleCellGA.org.
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 Nice,
If
nice,
you want camp information, sicklecellcamp.com.
nice. So one of the things that the foundation has and you have helped me with is the transition workshops. And these workshops are for teens who might still be at Camp New Hope, and their parents, as well as young adults who will be transitioning into adulthood. So we talk about not just adult care, which is a very important part, but we also talk about just how to adult with sickle cell. We may not have it down 100%, but
Getting there.
but we have lived in it for a while to know, what kind of works, what doesn't, and really it's all about trial and error,
True.
trying to figure out what's what. And your body is always changing, so you always want to be aware no matter what age of what's going on with your body. So that is helpful to figuring out what you need to do as an adult with sickle
True.
cell disease. So I want to show you guys the registration, the flyer for Free and Well. This one is Thursday, this coming Thursday at 6 to 8 on Zoom. Can we see the flyer, please?
And it's on Zoom. It's on Zoom, guys. Just
Right.
log in.
Yes.
Log in.
Right. So this is the information. You can register at the link on there. Please follow us on Facebook and Instagram, SCA365, so you can register. You may qualify for an Amazon gift card, but there are stipulations. So please be sure to come in and listen. It's on clinical trials. So I'm still confused on clinical trials. I don't know about you. But even just how to get access to them and things of that nature, I actually did not qualify for a recent clinical trial. And my issue with a lot of these medications is always I have SC, and I feel like a lot of them who look at the research is more with SS. So it kind of leaves me behind and leaves me to fend for myself. So I would like to see more things for the wider spectrum of sickle cell. You know, if you want a universal cure, you got to look at all the different types.
That is
you know,
true. That is true.
So, but I'm excited to hear about the clinical trials information. How do we access them? What is a clinical trial? What do we need to know? And hear from warriors who have gone through clinical trials. So I am excited about that. Again, that's Thursday, January 15th. No, not January. Sorry, July 15th. From 6 to 8 p.m. virtually. Also, this Saturday, which is a nice follow-up to the Free and Well session, we are having this journey to medicines, and we will learn how does medicine get made. I think that's a good addition to the clinical trials, and you know, you'll learn it goes hand in hand. So I thought this was really a really good opportunity. The doctor who is leading this particular program will be on the transition workshop to give us a general overview of clinical trials. So thank you, Dr. for CPAY.
Nice.
I know, right? I'm excited about it. So anything else you want to tell us about camp in the Sickle Cell Foundation of Georgia?
Camp. I always tell people I love my job because of camp. To me, and I'm always gonna be biased, about camp, but I think it's one of the happiest places on earth.
Yeah.
Right. Even though it's a lot of work that goes into it, it's a lot of work on the counselors. It's just it makes you feel good.
It does.
Like you actually when you go to work, yeah, you get paid. Yeah, you go spend your money. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
But when you go to camp and you see these smiles, or you hear parents might write letters or send you emails like, "Hey, my child really enjoyed camp. He couldn't stop talking about camp like the whole way home. I heard y'all did this, and this." Like, it's just, and that's why I've been stuck.
Yeah, exactly.
I have been stuck since my first time.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna keep going.
Good.
Because I could see the effect that it has on campers.
Yeah.
And like you, I still have campers to this day. They might call me at 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
Hey, bro, you just need to talk.
Yeah.
And just being there for them, oh my gosh, it is powerful.
It is. It
is so powerful. Sometimes just being a listening ear, people underestimate that, but that is so powerful.
It is.
So if you've never had a chance to go volunteer at a camp, especially a sickle cell camp, you should do it.
Do it.
Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it.
I think it was also eye-opening for my niece. She sees what I go through, but that's just a very limited perspective. And a lot of times I be faking the funk and not showing how bad I'm feeling. But I think it was a real eye-opener for her, just seeing what other kids go through, even the ones her age. kids who live with sickle cell, what they go through. And I talk to her often, like she doesn't even have the trait. So, I talk to her more about donating blood than I
Yes.
do, and I talk about the importance. I don't even get blood transfusions, but I tell her about the importance of donating blood and bone marrow and what it does and how it
Mm-hmm.
can help people like me.
Save lives.
Yeah, so awesome.
And in it, like just at camp. So somebody said one time, camp is the only place you can go and see kids compare scars. Right? So, and she was talking about how when she went to camp,
Mhm.
like girls were at the pool, pulling up their little bikinis or whatever and just showing, hey, I had a surgery right here. Like this is my scar.
Okay.
And somebody else is like, hey, I had that same surgery, but my scar is on this side, or
Yeah.
and that was just like that was touching because I'm like, you're not gonna see his kids at school.
Right.
You might not see them do something like that, but just being around other kids that know
Yeah.
what you're going through
Yeah.
or been there, done that,
Mhm.
as far as the
Mhm.
counselors and stuff,
Mhm.
it is to me it's just a place where, I mean, and kids do look forward to it every
Mhm.
single year.
Mhm.
So when we can't have camp in person, it kind of sad.
Yeah.
But at the same time, for everybody's own safety.
Yeah.
Um, but just being that place where you're not being judged.
Exactly.
So everybody not like, yo, why your eyes so yellow?
Mhm.
I couldn't believe that people get bullied
Yeah.
for their eyes being yellow.
Yep. Kids
Come,
are cruel.
come on now, kids.
People are
Come on now.
Kids and adults are cruel.
Come on now.
Yeah.
Just because my eyes look different
Yeah.
from yours, like you want to bully me?
Yeah.
I'm smaller.
Mhm.
I get bullied for that at camp. Man, we all small, or
Yeah.
we all know what this is like.
We feel normal at camp.
Exactly. And the other thing to a lot of parents, when their kids are at home, oh, don't go outside. You can't play basketball. You can't do this. I don't want you to get overheat. I don't want you to do this. You might end up in the hospital. If the child never tries it, they're not gonna know, one, if they like it or not. They're not gonna know if it's something that's gonna make them sick. Because I know people with sickle cell disease that run track,
Mhm.
play basketball, play baseball. So we can play sports.
Mhm.
But a lot of parents are like, and I get it. I'm not a parent, but I get it. You don't want your child to, end up in the hospital from a crisis or something.
Mhm.
But if you don't allow your child to try it,
Yeah.
you're never gonna know if they could do it or not.
And I feel like the parents, to a certain extent, project their fears on the child,
Yes.
and it limits them a lot. And this past weekend, one of my friends came from Texas, and she had basically, I say ran away from home, but she's a grown woman, so. But she has MS and sickle cell, so I understand why her family was worried. Well, would be worried because she didn't tell them until she was here, and it was because her mom is that worrying type and limiting
Yes.
type. So that was a
Yes.
repeat conversation this weekend about among a few different friends how attached our parents are, and then us trying to establish our adulthood with our parents is a struggle. But I think that's gonna be a whole nother show because it needs to be talked about.
Hey, you right about that. You right about that.
So yeah, I even still talk to my little sister's parents sometimes.
Mm.
They'll call me and I just love you. I'll never. So I still talk to them, but that parenting thing and letting them go off the camp, my mom would be mad because we didn't even have cell phones then, but she wanted me to call her when I got to camp,
Oh yeah.
and she would be mad sometimes when I didn't or when I waited too long. Gotta wait to find a payphone or something. We don't have cell phones, but yeah, you guys have to let them experience because you're just projecting fear in them. And even though they live with this disease, they have to learn how to be able to do certain things while living with
Yes.
this disease. I don't like to be told what I can't do or not to do something because I have sickle cell. I feel like if I didn't do anything because of sickle cell, I wouldn't do nothing. Even
That is
just
so true.
even just if it was really cold in here, I get sick just from sitting here, you know. So if I just stopped doing everything just because of sickle cell, I wouldn't do anything, and that's depressing in itself, you know. So don't limit us. Let us be free and enjoy what normal kids do, but in our own way. So
I had that same conversation with a group of young men the other day. You know, it was about traveling, really. They're like, oh, I have sickle cell, I can't travel. There's people with sickle cell that travel all the time for work, for pleasure. I love to travel. I love to travel, but again, a lot of times, you know, parents, and because they grow up like, oh, you can't travel because you got sickle cell. They grow up with this thinking like, oh, I'm never gonna travel because I have sickle cell. And just thinking about that can be so damaging to a child, right? You're always like, man, I'm never gonna be able to play basketball. I'm never gonna be able to do this because I have sickle cell. That is just
it stunts our growth when we're boxed in like that. So I get it. That's definitely going to be a whole nother topic.
True.
But speaking of travel, our next episode is gonna be on international travel. Last year we talked about summer and travel in general, but I'm curious to know, like, what steps do we need to prepare for? How do we prepare for international travel? That's not like a 3-hour flight if I want to go cross country or across, you know, the other side of the world. So,
all right.
How do we prepare for that?
All right. So, what I do is if I'm traveling, a week before, I start drinking more water.
Right.
I start making sure I'm on time. I'm taking my meds. I'm taking everything right. I also get a booster shot. So I get a shot that helps to boost my immune system.
Okay.
And I get IV fluids.
Okay.
That's before I travel. Then I travel. Okay, when I get back, I'm doing the same thing. Because the change sometimes just throws your body off.
Okay.
And if you haven't prepared your body to like, okay, we got to fight something, then your body's gonna like, okay, I ain't see this coming. Let's just, you know, we gonna just crumble. So you have to, not just the day before you travel, like, oh, I'm gonna start drinking some water today. Nah, week or weeks before, start building your immune system.
Gotcha.
And when you get back, and even while you're traveling, make sure you stay hydrated.
Yeah.
On the plane, I got my water. I don't care who looking at me. I'm getting water. I'm drinking water throughout my trip, you know. So staying hydrated is super important.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we take it for granted because we don't like water, but it's super important. And it could be so, I mean, it make a difference.
Yeah, it absolutely does. I definitely tell that tip to people that I'm speaking with about traveling. So, well, let's get into the sponsors. I want to thank Mr. Moore with the Apex Museum. They are open again, so please check them out online. They are still following the mask mandates and the social distancing, so don't go in there maskless. Make sure you are aware and conscious of the 6 feet, because I know that's a problem for some people. So I just want to reiterate that they are still doing the 6 feet apart, social distancing, and wear your mask, please. I also want to thank Tanya Robinson with Kids Stop Daycare and Learning Center, who is, of course, as always, taking care of the babies and making sure they get the knowledge that they need. And I also want to thank the Black Professionals Network for everything they do, and the TKH2O, I'm so sorry, IV Hydration and Wellness with Miss Kathy Walker. I've used her before. She comes out to the house and she gives you an IV. It's only about an hour or so, but it's very helpful. It has kept me sometimes from going to Grady. I would use it as a preventative technique, and not necessarily when you're in crisis. It may not be as helpful. So something like that, you just want to be mindful of, you know, catching it before it gets out of hand. But it's very useful, and she's safe, you know, mask and all that other stuff. So thank you so much, Kadeem. I really, really appreciate you spending time with me today and telling everybody about Camp New Hope and everything that the foundation does. So
not a problem. It's always a pleasure.
Awesome. make sure you guys tune in to our Instagram, social media, SCA365. Check us out on YouTube and stay tuned for the flyers. I can't talk today. The flyers for the upcoming event, so you guys can register. So I'll see you guys in a couple of weeks.